All right. Welcome to our first ever webinar here at Mingle Sport. Um, with us today is Luigi Antonicio. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
That's good.
From Salisbury Inter, Australia, and Sanne Bakker, who is a sports scientist here at Mingle Sport, but also a video analyst for FC Twente, which is a professional club here in the Netherlands. It's evening in Australia and it's morning here in Europe. So we're across at least two continents. Welcome. We'll have three sections today. First, I will speak with Luigi about his club, Salisbury, and how they look at player development and operations at their club. Then the stage is for Sanne, who will speak about player development, the sports scientific background of it, but also our plans for the upcoming 2026 season. And then I'll be sharing some roadmap insights and what we will be releasing for the upcoming 6 months. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the Q&A. We will have a look at it. Either we answer them straight away or push that to the end of this meeting. We'll see. If it's needed, I can also turn on your camera and microphone. You can join the conversation if you want. So let's keep it interactive. All right, so let me get Luigi also here. Luigi, thank you for joining this webinar. Maybe you
Hello, no
can
problems.
introduce yourself a bit and your role.
Yeah, okay. So from a sports perspective, my name's Luigi Antonuccio. I'm the technical director at Salisbury Inter for junior YPL girls. So I look after the under 13s to under 16s and 18s. We're at a WNPL side, our women's first team. So I look after, those four teams. There's about 80 odd girls. And I help the coaches and help develop the girls. The second part is I'm a director at a company called Motion Sports. We specialize in sports technology, GPS trackers, AI cameras, smart shin pads, all the latest tech coming out from Europe and across the globe. We try to bring it into Australia.
Cool. All right. Super interesting. So Luigi, maybe before we dive into Salisbury as a club and how you use Mingle Sport for Salisbury, maybe you can elaborate a little bit about like sports technology, because you use like cameras like Vio or other brands out there. You recommend them for other clubs. Also, you talk about shin pads and GPS trackers. How is that used across, let's say, grassroots and performance teams in Australia?
So it's great. We've got this technology becoming more affordable, I suppose, every year as well. You know, back in the day, there wasn't much. Cameras are still quite expensive, but seem to be a lot more affordable for clubs these days. So they're being used a lot. So the cameras and video has just been absolute gold for player development. We find when you're teaching kids or telling kids things to do on the park during a game, it's very, very hard for them to understand or remember. But seeing it, from high up, you can see the pitch, and they just get it straight away. So it's just the fact that you can rock up to training after the game. You can have your iPad out on the field, and you can show them quickly. You can email them, tag them, all sorts of things. So that's been absolute gold. As far as the GPS trackers, traditionally, should I say, elite or professional teams have been using them.
Yeah.
But definitely a lot more youth and NPL clubs and lower State League 1, State League 2 clubs are using them because they're starting to see the value in not just how fast someone ran or how far they ran, but what they can do as far as injuries, overloading players, which players are performing on the park, and all sorts of things. So as far as in a youth perspective, I use GPS trackers for just to manage load because a lot of my girls are playing multiple games. They're training. They're at some other academy during the week, or they're playing school soccer. So we can really manage, keep an eye on their workload. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. And Salisbury, it's a club in Adelaide, right?
Yes. Yep.
New South Wales.
South Australia. South
South
Australia.
Australia, sorry. So, but
And
can you maybe how big is the club?
so the club's having a 60-year anniversary next year. But really, the women's side has only been around for about 14 years, I believe. 10 or maybe 10. You know what? Don't quote me on that. I've only been at the club with a year, so it's pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But in that short time, they've grown from obviously one female team to, I think last year we had 14 female teams. And in the last 4 years, our senior women have been premiers 3 of those years. So the season just passed, we fell short, but the one before we won the grand final. So extremely successful and growing women's club in the north. We do have a men's side of the club, obviously, which has been going for the 60 years. But the clubs are run by subcommittees, so run independently. So when we talk women's focus, we do have a strong women's focus on that side.
Yeah, very impressive. Can you maybe tell us a bit more about the pains and gains within Salisbury and your, let's say, women teams that you are looking for sports tech tools like Mingle Sport? Like, what are the key things that you want to get solved with those tools?
So coming from the performance side, so we do cater for girls learning to play or wanting to just started, or girls who just want to play socially, but we also do have the elite pathway from under 13s up to our seniors. So in that side, we definitely, before we started using Mingle, definitely had problems on managing where our players were, what team they were playing in, having all our chats in one spot. So instead of having multiple groups and things like that, but also managing training attendance. That was a big one for me as a TD. And their load, how many games, all sorts of things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And tracking game playing time is quite a big subject, especially in Australia. How important is that for you also in the upcoming season?
So this is a very new topic, I think, especially with Football New South Wales setting the bar on that. So there's two sides. I think there's the parent side to how much did my kid play, but then there's also the coaches and technical staff on how much did that kid play. So yeah, I think it's very important both sides, and really coaches can have a plan and have subs and all sorts of things, and it never goes to plan. But it's the fact of how would you track this normally? I think it'd be I don't know anyone who actually has done it because it's just too hard. But with Mingle, you can obviously assign a coach or an assistant coach to do that, but a parent can do it, or one of your injured players or anything, or from their phone. So that it makes it really easy, and you get pretty accurate playing minutes as long as the person's entering the data properly. If someone was to write it on a notepad with a pen and paper, I just don't think it will happen every week. And then you've still got to enter that data somewhere and have it accessible. Whereas with Mingle, you just open the desktop app, Homebase, and you can see every minute every player's played. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
All right, thank you, Luigi. For the new season, are there any features, because you've been using Mingle Sport for over a season now? Are there any new features or improvements that you would like us to build?
So funny thing is, and I'm not obviously just because I'm on your webinar, I'm not going to say this, but Mingle Sport is probably one of the only apps I've dealt with where you put something on the suggestions list and it actually gets actioned. It's unbelievable. So obviously I've been using it for 12 months, and in the first 2 or 3 months I had many suggestions, and I believe at least 90% of them have come into play in the latest updates over the year, and up until the end of the season, I think everything I sort of had opinions on have come in. Going forwards, I can't say you're missing too much, or because I know what you've built and what you've got in the pipelines on Homebase. You've already got the player development profiles and things like that. So you can see all that in the motion. So that would be the next clear step to take, and you're already doing it. So at this stage, without loading the app with enormous amounts of features, adding video, or adding these other bits and pieces, I think it's really good the way it is at the moment.
Thank you for that. All right, so thanks, Luigi, for your perspective. Much appreciated. Awesome. What we're going to do is we're going to switch to our sports scientist, Sanne. And as I mentioned, she is the sports scientist here at Mingle Sport, but also she works for a team, the professional women's team for FC Twente. I think she can best tell it herself. So maybe, Sanne, you're now at it. I will also share the presentation in a bit. So maybe you can start first by introducing yourself to everyone.
Oh, hi, everyone. Nice meeting you. I have a sports science background, with a master's degree in sports science, and that's how I ended up at Mingle. And I also work as the video analyst of FC Twente women's team, which has been very excited this season with the Champions League and all that. And I really have a passion of seeing how we can get these things the profs do to the grassroots football. And that's also where my role in Mingle really lies. So today I want to share a little bit about player development. We've been doing a lot of research at Mingle and also talk to a lot of coaches, both at the professional level and the grassroots level. And one theme is really clear: you can't force a player to develop. They need to take ownership and they need to be part of the process. And one way to really help guide a player in doing this is via setting some realistic goals for a season or maybe half a season. Most of the times you can discuss this together with the player at the beginning of the season. Some coaches do this in the first week. Others say, well, we first want to see you perform in the preseason, and then we go sit together and set up some development goals. And one thing in which we really believe in Mingle is that both the player and all the staff should have access to these goals. There are too many stories of good season starts. We set up these goals, the coach will write them down somewhere in Excel, never to be looked at again. But we want to be able to take this into our practice sessions, to take this into a match, to ask a player to reflect on their own goals, to do a progress check-in. And that's really why we have tried to keep it really, really simple and really easy to use in Mingle. You can simply set a goal, have a title, give it a category, like is it a tactical goal, a physical goal, mental goal, give it a little bit of a description, and then it is displayed on the player's profile for the player to see, but also for the staff to see. So if you have some individual time during the training or want to have a look at how to help this player, every staff member can see it and prepare so they can help this player. And it also helps the player to feel responsible and ownership of their own process because they can see it. They can say like, okay, I feel like I'm almost there, or I have achieved this goal, or maybe I need a little bit more help. So that's really one way we try to do this. And what we are trying to add in the future, coming soon, is video. Obviously, as a video analyst, I'm very excited about video. Luigi already mentioned how important it can be. You can have a camera system, of course, but sometimes it can already be enough to just ask a parent like, okay, we have been training on high pressing. Just record 3 or 4 moments in which we are going to high press. The opponent keeper has the ball. Just take your phone, see if you can find a high spot or just from the sidelines, and record a clip of like 2 minutes. And then you want to share this with this player. And preferably, if their goal is doing the high press better, the timing or the direction, you can say like, okay, I will connect this clip to this goal. And the next time you sit with the player, you can just see like, okay, you've done a progress check-in. You say, I think I've achieved it. Well, I've collected during the season a few clips of moments at which you're practicing this. And yeah, we can see that you are getting better at this. So really to help the visualizing aspects. So this is something we will be adding pretty soon. Freek knows the exact timeline, of course, but yeah, I'm really excited about that. Yeah. So the next part I would like to talk to you about is minutes played, game time. however you call it. I think it's the most important stat that is out there, the most discussed stat, the one that gets parents, players, everyone can get riled up about it. And there is quite a difficulty for a coach to how do I divide this limited playing time amongst my players. So we try to look into it. How can you decide how to divide this playing time? Well, one aspect of it is, of course, noting down the playing time. Otherwise, we don't know what you're doing. But the other thing is, how do I decide how I want to divide my playing time? And we talked with a lot of different coaches, looked into the literature, and actually we kind of find out that there are like a few different approaches, but it's not that complicated. In the end, if we boil it down, we can create like a spectrum. All the way on the left, we can find equal playing time. You can think about this for like under nines. Everyone always gets exactly the same playing time. This could be for fun teams or very young teams. It doesn't matter. We just take how many players there are, we divide it up. All the way on the right, we have the other end of the spectrum. It's performance first. The ones that are guaranteed to get a win, they will be playing, and the others will just be sitting on the bench. In reality, I think most teams will be somewhere in between on the spectrum. For instance, if you go back a little bit more to the left, we have like the equal playing time for everyone, but then most teams are like, but I want to give players time that actually attend the training sessions. If you don't show up, you don't play. So this is like more commitment based, or it can be an attitude based. If you're too late or you do not listen, you do not have the right attitude, I will give you less playing time in the match. Or it can be that you say, okay, I want to win a little bit. It's also an important part for us to perform. But I also want to give everyone a guaranteed minimum. This can be a minimum per match, but it could be a minimum per month or per season. So what's really important here is that you first have a look at what's your aim of your team. What do I want to achieve? Is it just fun? Is it performance? Is it development? Rate them on like a priority list, 1, 2, 3. And then you will see automatically what that kind of means for you. Where on this spectrum should I be? And then you will think about the rules. If someone is too late, what does that mean? Write it down. And also, when doing this, think about the different types of games you have. You can have a friendly, where you will maybe be going a little bit to the left on the spectrum, but you could also have the must-win final, where maybe you will use the performance-first approach this time. The most important thing is that you have a clear aim and a clear goal, and set up is what we call it a playing time policy. You want to write it down and you want to share this with your team, with the parents. So there cannot be discussions. Listen, your child was too late on Tuesday, so he will be playing 10 minutes less. Those are the rules we agreed upon, to make it clear and to get your communication clear as well. And in the way that we try to incorporate this in Mingle is what you see down here. You can see like the average played by players, but the thing what I'm very excited about is below that. It's about the distribution. So is something very even, or are the playing minutes distributed more varied or uneven? Doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just for you to check whether you are still on the right track for the policy you are choosing. If you have a performance team, performance first team, uneven is not a bad sign. But if you want it to be more development focused and it's very uneven, that might mean that you need to reevaluate how you actually, which players you are giving playing time. So that's how we're really trying to get the science towards amateur teams and help you in defining your policy to prevent all these discussions throughout game time. And yeah, yes. So one way we do this as well is you can go to Homebase. In Homebase, it is all coming relatively soon. You will see an overview of your matches. You can see it per match, but you can also see it over a longer period of time. And you can get insights into this distribution. How am I doing? Is it the same as what I aim to do? Should I do something different? And one thing that we want to add in the future is that if you tell us what is your policy, and we know how you have distributed the minutes, we can tell you like, okay, well maybe this player number 12 needs to get a little bit more playing time next match. So when you make your lineup, we might suggest to you put him in 60 minutes. So that's one of the future things. Also make it a little bit easier to actually implement this, because as a coach, time is your scarcest resource. So that's really what we're working on right now. So I'm wondering if anyone has any questions.
I was muted. A rookie mistake. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we actually have two questions, and one is for you here. And you mentioned parents, but what is your vision on sharing playing time with players and parents? Because maybe as a coach, I don't want to share all of this information or parts of it.
I think this should be something that is dependent on your role as a coach, how you want to set up this communication. There are arguments for full transparency, especially if you've already made very clear rules. But it might also give unwanted discussion, because someone might think, especially if you're more into the performance part, you might get parents that think their child should be better because they perform really well, even though you have a coach have a different opinion on that. So in some cases, it might be good to be very transparent. And in some cases, you would think like, oh, in my situation, it would be better to just have this transparent for me as a coach for my staff, so I can see the load. I know what's going on. And yeah, it should always be situation dependent on what you want to communicate.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So you believe it should be a configuration that is decided on by the team admin or the team coach. All right. Thank you for that answer. So thank you, Sanne. Our focus for player development will be a focus on the minutes, on the clips, and on player goals, as you mentioned. We're going to the last part of this webinar, which is about our 2026 roadmap. And I will present that. Just as a reminder for those who are not yet familiar with Mingle Sport, it's an app used by over 10,000 teams, and we want to be the all-in-one app for football teams. And what does it mean? You can use this for team management tasks such as attendance tracking, training, match attendance, any team events, things like team communications and chat. The more interesting stuff, I think, from a football perspective, is around what happens on a match. You can use this for your match planning with the lineup, substitutions, cards, all the scorekeeping. And with that, you generate stats that are interesting for players. When we look at like our usage, obviously players are very keen on leaderboards, and we have leaderboards for pretty much everything. But you also generate content you can share with players, parents, people who are maybe not on the pitch, want to watch things remote, or just to report after the match. So there's that engagement side to it as well. So that is what our app is about. We have the app Mingle Sport, and then there's Homebase with all the stats, and it's a coach-only tool that we offer. So that's about Mingle Sport. Now let's go onto our roadmap. And you need to imagine that I think 2 years ago it was just us with a vision, and we pretty much built on intuition and some qualitative interviews. But our roadmap currently is basically decided on by our users. Luigi mentioned it. We are very, very keen on collecting data from our users. Either can reach us out by chat. You will learn. We get back to you in 5 to 10 minutes. We always follow up on these things. We have structured voting platforms where people can upvote or add feature requests. And obviously there's data that we also look at. So this roadmap is based on that input. Now, one of the first things that we have learned, and what we are doubling down on early in the 25-26 season, is that coaches really want it their way. So we have leaderboards, we have team awards, we have all sorts of, let's say, attendance RSVP features. And what we've done, and we are almost at the end of the implementation of this, we started with it back in October, is that you can configure, let's say, the whole team management to your specific needs. So let me give you one example. Minutes played is a highly debated stat. Keeping track of it is one thing, but sharing that data is another. And maybe you don't want to share a leaderboards with minute stats, or maybe you don't want to share any information about minutes played. It's a configuration. Also on the attendance side, we have parent-child relationships, so setting parent reminders or setting the reminder timing, when does the automated reminder go out, who to select for certain training or matches. It's all configurable at the moment. And we will, in the coming months, we will add a bunch of more features that allow you to, for instance, turn off some MVPs or Player of the Match awards, or maybe rename them just to fit your needs, make it a voting mechanism, or make it a coach selection. Again, all based on input that we get on a daily basis from our users. Now, the core feature that I am personally, and I think I speak for the rest of the team as well, very excited about is a feature called match control. So as you might know, we currently have in our app lineup tool. You can track substitutions. There's a timer. We have attendance, and all of these features, they work, but especially around the match, there's room for improvement because coaches have many situations in the match with exceptions and so on. So first, there was like a need from our side to make things much more flexible. And for instance, to be able to recreate a match after it has happened, or when somebody is busy at the field and you only want to focus on coaching, that you do not have to keep track of everything. You can also do that later. So there's the flexibility side to it. The other thing that we got a lot of feedback about is the fact that coaches really would like to look at a match through the lens of as a series of lineup versions. So you can imagine the starting lineup, of course, but then maybe you change formation, not only substitute players, but really change the formations of these players. And how great would it be if you could actually track minutes played per position? And that is something currently not able. So match control is a feature we're going to launch in December of this year. We have been working for more than 18 months on it. So it's by far the biggest thing that we are doing this year. And as you can see here, we have put everything in one environment. That's also why we call it match control. So in match control, you can use a timer, you can add goals, you can do substitutions, you can plan for substitutions, and you can add content things that you want to share. So this is the user interface of that you can see. It's a little bit like Google navigation, right? Navigate through the match, and you can also look at the different lineup versions that are either upcoming or in the past. With that, what you're doing is you're gonna create an event list. So basically just a list of things that happen in a match. You can put a match minute to it. If you make a mistake, you just change the match minute. If you want to add something in between later, it's as flexible as you want it to be. And so there's the factual side of those things. They will be used for stats. But then there's also the content side of those same events. You can add content, pictures, videos to these events and share it with others, either live or later in a match report. I mentioned the lineup versions. So this is really a new way of looking at a match and how to navigate a match. It's a series of, let's say, versions of a lineup. You can either, before the match, create all these versions. So if you want to plan for a specific floor of playing time for every player, the preferred positions, you can create a plan before the match. But of course, things will happen. So there might be unexpected events, and you can make changes during the match. Or there are equally amount of coaches that say, I don't want to plan anything. I just go with the flow. I prepare maybe 5 minutes ahead, which is also fine. So that's the lineup versions. All that information will also be available in Homebase, although with a slightly different perspective. So this is more the data table view of that same match. Also here in Homebase, you will be able to change, correct, or do anything. You have this data at an individual match level, but also at a combined match level. You will be able to filter on preseason, cup, finals, whatever you want. So there's a really good player development, athlete monitoring side to that as well. Next up, video. We've learned that we are clips based, so lots of people add video to Mingle Sport, and most often that video is on average 45 to 90 seconds. And what is asked for a lot is that people want to tag these videos at a player level, at a match event level, so a goal from user A, and associate player goals with this as well. And this is also what we will make possible, is that you can tag players on all these different levels and also set visibility for each video. Are these videos only for coaches to see, or will they be shared with the whole team, and will they also be publicly available if that is what the team wants on a public match feed or team page? So this is how that flow is going to work. It's just from the app. If you want, you can add a few data points, but you can also add it on Homebase later. This is all for teams. So we started off as a team. You can download us in the app stores. You can just start us to use. But we have got a lot of requests from clubs that they want to use Mingle Sport as their athlete monitoring or player development system, and also run some club operations with it around communications, attendance, and so on. Have launched this year in beta Homebase for clubs, which allows you to, as a club TD, for instance, get an overview of the different teams and get the stats at a team level and drill all the way down to player level visible. So team attendance, the distribution of playing time, goal difference, all these stats for all of the teams that you oversee. And we will double down on that. So first step for us is always make it great for teams and then make it available for clubs. And that's also something that we will add in the upcoming 26 season. More focus will come at player profile. So currently at a player profile, you can already add player goals. There's lots of data you can add, preferred positions, weight, height, and so on. And more data can be added to these player profiles. You can imagine the media and the development goals getting more, let's say, input. Finally, also asked for quite a lot. Can you please integrate Mingle Sport with our association or our league table, so we do not have to schedule manually, and we have the tables, for instance, available for the full team. We'll start doing that. It's complicated since every association has it their way, and not often they are open to integrate. So for us, it makes it a bit difficult as an international company. However, we will make it so that we'll start with a few associations first, and also allow for an integration through a calendar link, for instance. So if you have your hands on a calendar link from your association or your team, you would be able to include that link, and automatically it will schedule all of your matches and also keep it synced if in case it's a real-time connection. That's it. I'm at the end of the presentation. So I have a few more questions. One, let me stop sharing first. One question here. Let me take the first question. It's for me, and then I'll have a question for you. So the question here is, are you planning on any AI features for the upcoming season? I would love to have an AI assistant suggest a substitution plan for my under 15 team. Yeah, that's a great question. We are very excited about AI, LLM, and the vision of having an assistant coach that is always there for you and that does things for you is great. We actually have some prototypes running, and with pretty interesting results in a positive way. However, we also learned that first the data needs to be great, meaning it needs to be great to schedule a lineup, for instance, and that needs to make sense. And then AI can work with it. So our first focus will be, let's say, make attendance tracking great, make lineups great, substitutions, make them work really like our users want it, and then add that AI assistant to it. And actually, first ones up would be an assistant that gives you insights about, for instance, which player should I speak to with a declining attendance record, for instance. or looking at my player goals, what kind of players should I do a check-in with? All those sorts of things AI is really good at. And then substitution planning obviously is also one of them. Then, Luigi, I have a question for you. Can you say what are the top 3 most important data points that you track at a player level?
Hopefully you're still online. Do you mean, just exactly, do you mean data? Is it GPS data or?
No, any data. I think it can be like anything from attendance. Like what are the data points that you look at?
So personally, I like to look at one, training attendance. I definitely like to look at that. There's many reasons for that. One of them is a girl, a boy training, once a week, every week, and demanding minutes, or parents saying my kid isn't improving under this coach or under this team and things like that. I think training attendance is extremely important for me. But also, like I said, game time and match minutes, and adding that with the training attendance. I like to look at their load, especially in youth football. Obviously, they do a lot more higher running. They might have soccer at school and things like that. So I definitely like to watch how much they're doing. And then, if they are playing multiple games and stuff on a weekend, I like to check, their load on an early week training as well, just to make sure they're not overdoing it. The coach that's training them is aware of the game time they had over the weekend and things like that. So for me, they're probably at the junior sort of level, the things I'm watching the most. Yep, definitely.
All right. Thank you very much, Luigi. Okay, so unless there are any final questions, this is the end of our very first webinar. Thank you for joining, everyone. Was a pleasure doing it. Sanne mentioned we have written an ebook about player development. We will share that with anyone who is attendant. Also, if you have any requests for information or want certain features or have any questions about Mingle Sport, there's the chat feature on our website. It's the best way to reach out, also in the app. And there will be other webinars in the near future, so keep an eye on that. Thank you for watching.